This is Jon Schaffer from Iced Earth, and you're watching Metal Master Kingdom, where metal reigns.
Greetings, everybody. It is Alex from Metal Master Kingdom. We are at the Phoenix Concert Theater today for the Incorruptible World Tour. And it's a great pleasure being joined by the one and only Jon Schaffer of Iced Earth. John?
Hey, how's it going, man?
Good, man. Thanks so much for taking the time to chat with me. Welcome back to Toronto, first of all.
Thanks.
So you're currently ending your North American tour with Sanctuary and Kill Ritual. And it's your first North American tour in about 4 years since Plays of Babylon.
Right.
How's it been?
Great, man. Great. A lot of sold-out shows and very excited fan base.
Yeah. And there's also like some mixed emotions, especially with Sanctuary, with the passing of Oral and everything. So
yeah, there's been some very emotional days on the tour, especially in Seattle.
Yeah.
And for me, the first day in Indy when it started, because I heard when those guys were doing sound check, I could just hear Oral.
Yeah.
So it was pretty freaky. But and I'm a huge Sanctuary fan, so I'm
absolutely.
big. Lenny Rutledge, I think, is great. Great composer, great guitar player.
Yeah, great band.
So yeah,
Absolutely. Rest in peace, world. We'll miss you.
yeah.
All right, so Incorruptible's been out for a little over almost a year now, and it's another fantastic album. I love it. It made my top 5 albums of 2017.
Cool.
And in between this record and Plays of Babylon, you took most of 2014 and 2015 off due to your surgery and everything, right? And rebuilding the studio, right?
That's right. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't really off. It wasn't like I had a vacation from Iced Earth, which I desperately need.
Yeah.
So it's been about 10 years. When I like to disconnect, like I mean, it's literally like I don't want to hear the words Iced Earth.
Yeah.
Then I can really take a vacation for a while, and it's been about 10 years since I've done that. So even, I did take time to heal and recoup, and the band wasn't on tour and in the public eye, but I was still dealing with business daily, working during all of that, So the vacation is on the horizon.
Yeah. So when did the writing for the album begin? Did it begin right after Plays came out, or a little while after?
No, it was after. I started doing some stuff, but I felt like it was more important for me to focus on getting a studio built in the headquarters happening, because then I knew the result was going to be better than if I was trying to rush it. I needed to do that, and it makes a big difference. It's going to make a big difference on every production that I do going forward, regardless of whether it's Iced Earth or whatever. It's having that set up and it came out great is it's really important.
Yeah, absolutely. When you write, do you tend to go into the vault and grab riffs that you've written in the past, or do you start from scratch?
I catalog riffs kind of all the time, but usually there may be a riff or two that I'll go back, but most of the time it's just new. They're kind of always going, and that's one way that a song gets built. I can be fucking around on a keyboard, or I can be playing a bass or whatever, and just start building the sections that way. Yeah, program the drums or whatever. I mean, do all of that stuff so that we have during the pre-production is really important for Iced Earth, because especially in this day and age where the band is international and we live all over the place, and it's really important to have a very detailed demo of what's happening, and they are very, very detailed. And then, we get together and everybody knows what we're doing, and typically we don't even get together and jam. It's just a matter of coming in and doing the master tracking individually at a time.
Right. Sounds good. You've done a couple concept albums over the years, like Night of the Storm Rider, and some themed albums like Horror Show and Something Wicked, right?
Yeah.
And but you said you prefer more thematic diversity. Does that mean the door is closed on doing concept and themed albums in the future?
No, never. No. And I don't think I ever actually said that. So I do whatever feels natural in the process, and what feels like the next step. And I don't know if the next album is going to have, I'm not even interested in thinking about what the next album is right now. There's no point. We've got plenty of stuff touring
left to do.
Touring to do, and I'm doing Demons and Wizards this year. So I mean, I'm focused on other things, and there's no reason for Iced Earth to rush back into the studio. At any point going forward. I think it's more important that the quality is there. we were being pushed in a certain direction by former management, and I think we learned that that wasn't the best thing to do for us individually or for the brand as a whole. And
Right.
so, it's one of those things, it's a learning experience always. I mean, in life, you should always be learning,
Absolutely.
no matter how old you are.
Absolutely.
And so, I mean, I think we're in a great position for whenever that time is to start kicking up. But I mean, there may be something that inspires us over in the next 10 months or a year to where we go, hey, this is the direction that's going to happen. But there's no point in making that decision right now, because I know if I make a decision right now, my head's going to be in a completely another place in a year.
Yeah.
So there's no point.
That makes a lot of sense. I totally agree with you. I want to get your take on something that we've been noticing happen over the last couple of years, especially when it comes to touring and albums. Some bands, especially the big bands, have gone on to include, have their tickets come with copies of their new albums, where the ticket will have a code that you could redeem for a physical or a digital copy of the album that they're included with the ticket price. How do you feel about that? Do you think this may be the future as far as album sales go?
I think it's a great thing to get people to buy physical product.
Absolutely.
And they can absorb that into the ticket price. And,
Yeah.
and so I think it's actually a very cool idea. I see nothing wrong with it. There's so many people that just pirate the music now.
Yeah.
I mean, in general, and I feel fortunate that metalheads typically get it and still buy physical product. The thing is that we are being affected by the industry as a whole, as it collapses, so it does affect all of us ultimately somehow. But there's a lot of different ways for bands to monetize and survive through this, and I think that's a really great idea, actually. To try to push people to get the physical sales.
Because Metallica, for example, the last two, the tour they did in North America last summer, and their upcoming tour right now, each ticket comes with a physical or digital download of Hardwired, and because of that, Hardwired is back to number 2 on the charts.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's important, I think it's just, the whole digital thing is cool. It's definitely convenient, and it's a good way to discover bands, but I don't think that the audio quality is nearly as good, and there's just something cool about the experience of, especially vinyl. I mean, you buy the record, you have the art, it's large enough to actually see it, the lyrics. If they're bands that do a cool layout,
it
helps you go on that journey, man. You can you can sit there and listen to it and just absorb the whole thing. It's a whole different experience than listening to shit on your phone.
Absolutely.
It's completely different.
I agree with you, absolutely. A couple things that you mentioned that's on your bucket list is starting your own label, and also to re-record some of the old albums from the past. You mentioned that one of the goals with the label is not to sign any bands, but will it be for the bands that you're involved with?
Well, that's the idea, and I'm not even sure that we're examining everything. Like, this is all just in discussion, and I'm not sure where it's going to end up, because there's so many options right now, and for as far as Ice Earth is concerned, we're not really in a hurry to jump back into something. So we're kind of monitoring the business and learning right now and discussing things with a lot of people, and then we're going to see where we go next. But that is one of the ideas, is to start an imprint label, and it would be for the majority of the projects that I do. But with Demons and Wizards, Hansi's my partner, and we discuss everything. So that's a different dynamic completely in which direction we're going to go. We are also talking about that now. So I've got a million things like going on in my head. Before I make any big decisions, I really want a vacation.
For sure.
It's that time.
Definitely. While we're on the subject of the past, would you happen to know what some of the other past members, like Jon Schaffer, John Greeley, Ronnie Beasley, are up to? Are any of them still musically active?
I have not. I have talked to John Greeley quite a bit here recently, but the other, I haven't seen those guys in years. But I've seen some of them. No, I haven't seen Randy in years. Gene Adam and Bill Owen, my old guitar player from Purgatory, were just in Atlanta.
You guys recently just reconnected, right?
We did,
I saw a picture you posted on Facebook. That was really cool.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, we're really old friends, and we went through a lot of stuff together back in those days, and had a lot of fun, completely out of our minds. But I mean, it's been cool to get reconnected with those. I've seen Bill several times through the years, but Gene I hadn't seen in a really long time. And, I ran across those guys that have a podcast for Iced Earth, and somehow it came into my attention that Gene had done an interview, and I was like, man, I want to watch that. And then I chased him down through his band called Jacob's Well that he has. It's like a folk acoustic thing that he does.
Okay, so he's still musically active, right?
Oh yeah,
Cool.
he is, man. And it's been great, you know, because I love Gene, always have. You know,
Yeah.
it's just it's always hard when tough decisions have to be made.
Yeah.
It's hard, and it's really hard on me too, especially if it's somebody that I really care about. But if
Yeah.
I know that it's not working to where the vision is,
Yeah.
I gotta chase the vision, man, or I'm not being true to what's coming in, and that's really bad. So, but Gene gets that, you know.
Yeah.
He has no, like, he gets it completely. So it's cool. So you know, I've been in touch with several members from the past, but there's some that I don't wish to and don't care. You know, I mean, there's never that kind of connection. So it just depends on the dynamic of and how close we were.
Yeah.
At any point, anyway, as to
Yeah.
where there's an interest. You know, I mean, Wikipedia says there's been 30 whatever members, but they put people in there that were session guys that were totally hired guns. Maybe a guy to do a tour, maybe a guy. You know what I mean?
Right,
It's like whoever it is that's putting that in there. I don't care.
Yeah.
That's right.
And then just a few days ago in Baltimore, you had Matt Barlow come up on stage
Yeah.
watching over me. That was awesome to see.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, the videos on there I saw.
Yeah.
Oh man, like I could just picture like the crowd. I'm pretty sure like a lot of people in there like were maybe crying and everything.
Oh yeah. I mean, it was really cool. Even Luke, our bass player, was. And you know,
Yeah.
we've been through plenty of emotional stuff as a band. But I mean, I looked over at Luke when we were playing, and he was like, I think it might have been after, like right when we finished, it really hit him. And it's cool, you know, I mean, and a lot of people, of course.
Yeah.
Matt's a huge part of the history of the band, and
Yeah.
it was, you know, we never played in Delaware before, and hence we never did, because that show got canceled. Live Nation pulled that date
really?
because of the snow,
Oh yeah.
But fortunately, the plan, you know, my daughter was with me on tour from spring break, and you know, we went and spent a couple nights with Matt and my sister. It was great because anytime they've come through Indiana recently, I've been on tour and I never get to Delaware, and I'm like always going a million miles an hour. So it definitely was really cool to visit and hang out again, and you know, because the cousins haven't been together since they were like really little.
That's
so
right.
now they're getting big.
Yeah.
Cool.
Is your daughter an Iced Earth fan?
Yeah, I mean, she is. She's a fan. I think she's more than the music. There's definitely some stuff that she likes, but I think she's more of a fan of her dad and his friends. You know what I mean? Because she sees how we carry on, and she loves the guys in the band. So I mean, but she's into a lot of different stuff. You know, she's into classic rock, and she likes some of the current pop stuff, which I can't stand. But you know what? That's her thing.
Yeah.
It's whatever.
Yeah. And obviously, it's unavoidable for us to, we just chatted, like, talk about Demons and Wizards a little bit. You said that's the next thing that you're going to focus on. I also talked with Hansi about a couple years ago when they came through town. We touched on that a little bit. Have any songs been read so far, and if so, how many?
We have 3 that I would say are, you know, in their 60% there, maybe.
Okay.
So it's still early. After not this run, the next, when Iced Earth is done touring in this year, which is going to be late July, early August, is when we're going to wrap up over in Europe, then, for this year anyway, then the remainder of the year will really be me focused on Demons and Wizards, and even into till however long it takes, you know what I mean? We're not going to in any kind of a rush, but that's my main focus. And when I get really focused and people leave me alone in the business, you know, I get into songwriting mode in the studio, then I'm, you know, very productive in a fairly short amount of time. So
Absolutely. All right. So I just have a couple of fan questions from Facebook, if that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
So Tamara Rubia asks, what are the chances of you guys including Dante's Inferno in this set again?
0.
0?
0 chances. Not gonna happen.
Sorry, Tamara. Sorry to disappoint you.
Yeah, that's a song that, I mean, we did it everywhere on the Dystopia World Tour, which was a huge free tour. But that's not a song you can just pull out of your hat.
Yeah,
it takes a lot of rehearsal, and you know, there's some.
17 minutes,
Jake's never played the song. The rest of us have, but it's not. We need to practice that, and it eats up a significant amount of set. We're doing different stuff on this tour, you know.
Right.
It's actually a pretty varied set. A lot of new stuff and a lot of old stuff, and you know, a good amount of Stormrider shit and.
Stormrider, I love the record.
few things peppered here and there. The set's working really well.
Cool. Okay, and last fan question comes from Lucas Damasio. I hope I'm saying your name right. Don't kill me if I butcher it. What recording gear do you have in the studio, and how does recording albums today compare to records like Night of the Storm Rider and Birth Offerings?
Well, by gear, I'm not sure what he means. I have probably the most crucial thing right now are the kind of mics and mic pre's that you use for mic preamps is a big deal. I use Pro Tools. I have some SSL mic pre's, some Universal Audio API. I have there's the Rupert Neve, which are the name of the company. There's several companies that do copies of Rupert Neve's mic pre's.
Right.
And right now, the ones that I have are escaping me, the brand. But they sound really good, really very nice. There's a lot of that kind of stuff. That's really a big deal in your selection of microphones as well. In the old days, it was analog, it was on tape, so it was a whole completely different process. And it was actually, there's many things I like about analog better in terms of audio quality, especially for things with distorted signals like guitars. I think I prefer drums and bass on digital because you get a lot more low end than the tape can actually handle, and that's a pretty cool thing. But with distorted signals, you have these analog to digital converters that they're much better than they were 10 years ago or even 5 years ago. But I still feel like you don't get that same warmth that you get from just going analog right to tape.
Yeah.
So there's a difference. There's definitely a very big difference in the way the guitars sound, or anything. Even with Stu singing, or even a guy like Matt, Tim Owens. I mean, any of the guys that use a lot of rasp, Hansi. I still feel also that there's a similar thing in the converters that happens to those distorted signals that take some of the warmth away.
Right.
So that's a little bit of a thing that I would love to be able to experiment with some days, to just use the tape on certain instruments.
Yeah.
But I think it's really expensive now. I mean, 16 minutes of 2-inch, 24-track tape is like $350.
Yeah.
And then almost nobody has the machines anymore, and it's a very antiquated. And you're dealing also, like back in the day, you'd have to figure like at least probably $300 of your day was rewind time.
Right.
You don't think about that now, because now you hit a space bar. Done. Go. You know what I mean? It's that fast. So there's a lot of differences, man. And there's some things are really great. The editing for digital is amazing. There's all kinds of cool shit that you can do digitally that you couldn't do before. But there's things I like on both sides of it.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so now just have a quick lightning round. So just fun questions, quick fire. Abbott and Costello or Three Stooges?
Three Stooges.
Same here. Flintstones or Looney Tunes?
I guess Flintstones.
Okay.
I don't know. I never was into any of it.
Oh, no?
So, yeah.
Okay. What will be your dream vacation?
Dream vacation, man. I think being in the Rocky Mountains, like in Colorado, in the middle of nowhere, would be pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I have done that a couple times, and it's amazing.
Yeah. Steak or chicken?
Steak.
Yeah. That would be a tough choice for me because I wouldn't be able to give up either one because I love both.
Yeah, I love both.
Yeah. Sweet or salty?
Salty. Not a big sugar fan.
Yeah.
It's really bad for you. Out here it's hard to not have it because it's in everything, but at home I'm really anti that shit.
Okay, so to wrap things up, just last question. Following this tour, you're going back overseas to Europe for festival season. And what are the other touring plans for this year? And some fans are asking about the possibility of a second North American leg, maybe next year or so.
For this calendar year, the European will be the final part. It's like 6 weeks over there. We're doing festivals and headline shows, and then we're discussing the possibility of doing a second leg in North America, like in January or February next year, but it's not confirmed. It's just being discussed, and it's going to be an interruption in the flow of Demons and Wizards. So it's got to really make sense to interrupt that process. So we're discussing it with management now.
Right. All right. That's all I got. John, thanks so much. Any last words of wisdom to the fans watching?
No, man, just thanks for the support. we're getting ready to go home, and I think we're kind of sad that the tour's ending, but also happy to be going home. So
Yep.
it's a little bit of both.
Yeah. So be sure to catch Iced Earth on tour throughout Europe if you're going over there to catch them. And buy Incorruptible. It's out now on Central Media Records. I'm Alex. Thanks for watching this episode, and we will see you next time.